remember being a kid and kind of freaking out about cooties.
Oh, yeah.
Well, it turns out that whole idea, it might actually have some, well, surprising scientific roots.
It really might.
So get ready, because today we're diving deep into a microbe that could make those old playground rhymes feel a little less like make-believe.
Exactly. We're going to explore the science of Cutibacterium acnes.
Yeah, pronounced just like it looks, and see how it sparks the imagination in the Cütie Catcherz AR comic series.
Right, Cütie Catcherz. So this isn't just about a comic book, then.
Not at all.
We're actually going to unpack some pretty important skin science, stuff that relates to, well, pretty much everyone listening.
Absolutely. Whether you've dealt with acne, or maybe you just want to understand your skin a bit better, this is definitely for you.
Okay, so what are we working with today? What are our sources?
We've got some interesting stuff. First, there's a medical case report. It goes into detail about a serious Cutibacterium acnes infection.
Okay, a real-world case. Yeah, from the American Journal of the Medical Sciences, actually. It shows how this common skin bug can cause issues elsewhere. And then we also have a narrative piece that explains the science behind the Cütie Catcherz comic.
Got it. So the mission today is sort of uncovering how real microbiology feeds into creative storytelling.
Precisely. And hopefully give you some solid knowledge about what's going on with your own skin.
Okay, let's dive in. What exactly is this? Cutibacterium acnes.
All right, so Cutibacterium acnes is a bacterium, a type of single-celled microorganism.
Okay.
Specifically, scientists classify it as a gram-positive bacillus. That just refers to, key things about its cell wall structure, helps classify it, shape, outer layer features.
Gram-positive bacillus. Got it.
And it's also anaerobic,
Right.
meaning it prefers environments without much oxygen. Think deep in skin follicles, and importantly, it's a very common resident of our normal skin flora. It lives on our skin pretty much all the time.
Okay, so it's normal, a normal part of our skin's ecosystem. But that name, acnes, it rings a bell. Is it linked to, well, acne?
It is. That's definitely what it's most famous for, you could say. Probably the first thing people think of.
Right.
But, and this is important, C. acnes can also be involved in more serious infections, particularly when medical devices are implanted in the body.
Really? Like what kind of serious infection?
Well, that case report we mentioned, oral antibiotic regimen for Cutibacterium acnes prosthetic joint infection. That gives us a clear example. It describes a prosthetic joint infection, or PJI, caused by this exact bacterium.
A prosthetic joint infection. Wow, okay. That does sound serious. Tell us about that case.
Sure. So the report talks about a 63-year-old man. He had had a reverse total shoulder replacement surgery about 3 years earlier.
Okay.
And he started getting increasing pain and stiffness in that same shoulder. His doctors eventually suspected an infection, related to the artificial joint.
And it turned out to be C. acnes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They did a surgical procedure to check things out, found infected tissue, and sent samples off to the lab.
Right.
But here's the thing. Cutibacterium acnes is known for being slow-growing.
Oh.
It actually took 11 days of incubation in the lab before they could definitively say, yes, this is C. acnes.
11 days. That seems like a long time to wait when you suspect an infection.
It is. It's a known challenge with diagnosing these particular infections sometimes. You might have to start treatment based on suspicion before you even get the lab results back.
It makes sense. So what happened once they identified it?
Well, in this case, once they knew what it was, the patient was treated with an oral antibiotic combination, rifampin and amoxicillin, for 3 months.
Oral antibiotics for a joint infection.
Yeah, that's one of the interesting points of the case. Rifampin is good at penetrating biofilms. We'll probably talk more about those later. And this specific strain was sensitive to amoxicillin.
Did it work?
It did, yes. It was successful. Follow-up checks showed his inflammation markers went down, pain improved, he got function back in his shoulder.
That's great news.
Yeah, he even went on to have the next stage of his joint surgery and recovered really well. It sort of challenges the usual thinking, suggests less invasive treatments, like oral meds, might work sometimes.
That is really interesting. I definitely would have assumed something like that needed, long-term IV antibiotics.
Right. And often they do. These deep infections frequently require extended IV therapy. But this case suggests that, at least for certain C. acne situations, an oral approach can be effective, which avoids potential IV line complications too.
Okay, so we've gone from common skin bug to a pretty serious joint infection case. Now, connect the dots for us. How does this link up with the Cütie Catcherz comic?
Okay, here's the fun part. It's the exact same microbe, Cutibacterium acnes, that inspires the cuties in the comic. Remember to pronounce it cooties.
Ah, okay. Cooties, like the playground thing.
Exactly. The comic uses that idea, that metaphor, to help us grasp some of the complexities of this bacterium and what it does, especially regarding skin health.
So the little cuties characters, they represent C. acnes. That's actually pretty clever. It makes it more approachable.
It does, and the comic does a good job reflecting the real science in its story.
How so? Give us some examples.
Okay, well, remember how I mentioned biofilms? That ability of C. acnes to form these sticky, protective communities.
Yeah, you said rifampin was good at penetrating them.
Right. Biofilms make bacteria much more resistant to treatment. It's a real challenge. The case report touches on this. Other studies do too.
Okay.
So in the Cütie Catcherz story, the cuties build cutie hives.
Cutie hives. Okay, I see where this is going.
Yeah. These hives are shown as being really tough, resilient. They need special tools in the story to break them down. That's a direct reflection of the real difficulty in disrupting C. acnes biofilm.
Ah, that makes total sense. The hive resilience equals biofilm resistance. Cool. What else?
Well, think about the diagnosis issue we just talked about, how C. acnes can be slow to grow, delaying identification.
11 days, yeah.
So the background info for Cütie Catcherz mentions something similar. There's this initial confusion in the story about what the cuties actually are, how to identify them, understand their behavior.
Another parallel.
Yeah.
The real diagnostic challenge showing up as story confusion. Nice. What about treatment? The case report had that successful combination of oral antibiotics.
Absolutely. That combination therapy, rifampin for biofilms, amoxicillin for sensitivity, it finds an echo in the comic too. Nimbus, the hero, learns he can't just use one generic approach.
Right.
He has to use specific weapons, like phage darts or probiotic pods, that are tailored to different cutie variants or situations.
Phage darts, probiotic pods, so it's about targeted solutions.
Exactly. Think of phage darts, maybe like those specific treatments targeting the bacteria, maybe like how rifampin targets those biofilms. It's not just one big blast.
Okay, so not a one-size-fits-all attack.
Precisely. And that leads to another key idea present in both the science and the story. The importance of balance.
Balance. How so?
Well, the successful oral treatment in the medical case was effective, right? But maybe less aggressive, less disruptive than long-term IVs might have been.
Okay, yeah.
Similarly, the Cütie Catcherz story really emphasizes that sometimes restoring balance to the skin is just as vital as eliminating the cuties. Maybe using something like Serenity Mist or those probiotic pods in the comic.
Ah, probiotic pods suggesting beneficial microbes, like
Yeah.
restoring the good guys.
Exactly. That aligns with the growing understanding in skin science that supporting a healthy, balanced microbiome is crucial. It's not always just about killing off the bad bacteria. Sometimes it's about fostering the good environment. The Serenity Mist metaphor kind of points to calming things down, restoring that balance.
Well, this is actually really layered. It's amazing how much real science they've woven into this comic narrative.
It really is quite cleverly done.
Now, I want to bring this back to you, our listener, especially thinking about listeners with darker skin tones. How does understanding all this C. acnes, biofilms, the comic metaphors, how does it relate specifically to managing skin health for different skin tones?
That's a really important question because understanding Cutibacterium acnes, what makes it tick, the factors influencing it, that's vital for effective skin health management for everyone, all skin types.
Okay.
While the comics metaphors, the cuties and hives are pretty universal, the science underneath applies across the board. For people with darker skin tones who might experience acne differently, maybe more inflammation or concerns like post-inflammatory hyperpigmentation.
Right. The dark spots left after a breakout.
Exactly. Understanding the role C. acnes plays, how biofilms might complicate things, that knowledge can be really empowering. It helps you understand why certain treatments might be recommended or why things might take time.
So the comic gives a relatable framework, but the science behind it is key for personalized care.
That's a great way to put it. The cuties help visualize the microscopic battle, maybe, but the science really highlights why we need to move beyond just generic skincare advice. Understanding the why behind your specific skin issues allows for more targeted, effective care. It really reinforces that skin health isn't one size fits all.
It really makes you think differently about even a simple pimple, doesn't it?
Yeah,
There's this whole microscopic world at play.
absolutely.
This deep dive has been, well, truly eye-opening. We started with cooties, basically,
Yeah.
and ended up unpacking some complex really relevant science.
We really did. I saw how actual scientific research, like the PJI case report on Cutibacterium acnes, directly feeds into the imaginative storytelling of Cütie Catcherz.
It just proves that sometimes those simple, even seemingly childish concepts,
Yeah.
they can have incredibly deep and fascinating scientific roots.
Definitely. And the hope is that now you listening might see your skin less like a battlefield
Yeah.
and more like a dynamic ecosystem. Understanding the players, whether you call them Cutibacterium acnes or cuties, it really can empower you to make smarter, more informed choices for your own skin health.
So we definitely encourage you to explore this more. Maybe look up some more info on Cutibacterium acnes, its role in acne and beyond. Or, hey, check out the Cütie Catcherz comic series and see this science brought to life.
Yeah, see how the metaphors play out.
Thanks so much for taking this deep dive with us today.
My pleasure.
You got the cooties, we got the cure, fighting breakouts with facts and a whole lot of lore. It's Cütie Catcherz, beneath the skin, where science and story are about to begin. Let's go! You got the cooties, we got the cure, fighting breakouts with facts and a whole lot of lore. It's Cütie Catcherz, beneath the skin, where science and story are about to begin. You got the cooties, we got the cure, fighting breakouts with facts and a whole lot of lore. It's Cütie Catcherz, beneath the skin, where science and story are about to begin. Let's go!
That's a wrap on this episode of Cütie Catcherz Beneath the Surface, where science meets art and technology, and skincare gets a superpower treatment. If you learned something, laughed a little bit, or just loved the blend of art, culture, and biology, make sure to follow the journey at cutiecatchers.com and stay up to date on Instagram at Cütie Catcherz. Catch every new episode on Spotify and YouTube. Just search Cütie Catcherz Beneath the Surface. And remember, the cooties are real, but so is your power to fight back with knowledge. This is produced by me, Stephen Christian, of Stuck on an Island, in collaboration with Iltopia.